Have you ever caught yourself holding your breath? Maybe it's just shallow breathing. And when you think about when that was happening, what were you feeling? Were you feeling a little tense, a little anxious, maybe a little fear, but some kind of negative emotion? Bad moment in trial, tense moment in negotiations, or some disagreement in the boardroom. You might not even have an explanation for why you were holding your breath or shallow breathing, but you just know it's not a very good feeling. What if you had a simple strategy backed by science that would pull you out of that discomfort and give you an edge? Hi, welcome to Porch Lawyer. I'm Francine, your host. A number of years ago, I started training to become a full certified ski instructor. And it was a tall order for a 30-year-old who had started skiing, and say when they were 2 years old. It was a ridiculous challenge, though, for a middle-aged woman who had only learned to ski when she was 30 years old, and that was me. I spent a lot of time skiing really difficult terrain, doing lots of difficult maneuvers. I fell a lot. And one of the things that I realized I was doing pretty consistently was I was holding my breath, or breathing shallow, but often just holding my breath. I would come down a run and the trainers would look at me and going, "Are you holding your breath?" And they would notice it because they noticed that my movements were not as fluid because I was holding my breath. The other thing I did often was mouth breathe. Now, I'd like to think that it was because I was trying to get more oxygen. I don't really know, but I wasn't performing much better when I was mouth breathing either. When I finally passed the exam, I was breathing more consistently when I was skiing, and mostly through my nose. It gave me a feeling of being alert, and it worked, so I did it. Not because I had any reason for that. Well, now, psychologists will tell you if you're holding your breath or breathing shallowly, you're probably experiencing something like anxiety, tension, or fear. And so holding your breath is not a good thing for you. And we need an alternative to that because we are going to experience tension, anxiety, and fear in our lives. So what's the alternative to holding our breath? And if we just had a strategy, it would be good for us. So a recent study shows that there's a huge difference between breathing through our nose and breathing through our mouth. You've probably been in that meeting or a seminar where somebody says, "Okay, let's all take a deep breath and breathe through your nose." So just try that with me right now. Just breathe through your nose. You can feel that kind of alertness going. It makes you feel better. Now let's do the same thing, except this time inhale through your mouth. Notice it wasn't the same. It just didn't have that same sharp feeling like you're alert. So it turns out the scientific study that they just did provides us some insight. And a quick disclaimer here, after all, I am a lawyer. This is a recent study, and they're still studying this issue, but that doesn't mean we can't take what they've learned so far and use it in our business, in our practice right now. So inhaling through the nose stimulates areas of our brain like the limbic area, the primitive part of the brain that's associated with fear, that fight or flight response. It also stimulates parts of the brain that's associated with memory. This only happens though when you inhale through your nose, just through your nose, and it doesn't happen if you inhale through your mouth. So just considering those two aspects, fear and memory, this could have significant impact on your performance. A little background about fear and that fear center of the brain. When we were living in caves and it was a question of life or death, if you saw a saber-toothed tiger, that fear center would get stimulated and you would run. And we needed to have good memory so we would remember what would kill us and what would not kill us. So between fear and memory, they kind of go hand in hand for our survival. Well, today, that part of the brain still works the same way, except instead of saber-toothed tigers, our fear triggers are things like opposing counsel, tearing up our key witness on the stand, or people disagreeing with you in negotiations, or some big disagreement in the boardroom. And our brain perceives danger in these situations, and the fear center is then triggered, just as if it would be triggered if there was a saber-toothed tiger in front of us. That's that fight or flight response. And when our brain perceives danger, our brain responds as if we walked around the corner and confronted that saber-toothed tiger. And when that happens, if we were to start inhaling through our nose, then your brain becomes more ready to deal with that perceived danger. Your mind is sharpened, your memory is improved. So think about how this could help you get that little edge. Let's say you're in negotiations or the boardroom or in the courtroom, anywhere there's a dispute. So that's what I'm going to do with this information. The next time I'm doing research and I come across a key point that I want to make sure I remember, I'm going to reread that portion and take a deep inhale through my nose. The next time I perceive a disagreement coming on, say in a negotiation, I'm going to pause for a moment and take a deep inhale through my nose. Inhaling through the nose is a simple strategy just to get that edge, especially in those situations where we tend to lose the edge. So inhale through your nose, and I'll see you back here at Front Porch Lawyer.